Hi everyone! In this video I'll show you how you can build AI assistants that can answer in several languages using VoiceFlow. I'll also show you what you should avoid and what doesn't work. I know about this because I built several of these multi-language AI assistants, including for some clients. In case we haven't met yet, I'm Gregor, nice to meet you. And on this channel I show you how to make use of AI for practical solutions. And with that, let's jump right into VoiceFlow. Here in VoiceFlow, let's start with the agent's overview, and we start by creating a new agent. We can call this multi-language test assistant or anything that's suitable for you. We want to chat, and here is already the first question. You get asked to pick a language here. And you can choose English or you can choose another language, but you can't choose two of them at the same time. What do? Well, the truth is, as I found out, this choice here actually doesn't matter. It must have something to do with their system, how it worked in the past, but as I use it now, it doesn't make any difference whatever language I choose here. So let's just go with English and we don't need to worry about this anymore afterwards. Now, before we start building in VoiceFlow, let's look at an example page, an example client or website that we would build this for. And the one I chose is this language school here, Sprachschule Aktiv Basel, which is a suitable website to consider because they already have their website in several languages. So let's go, for example, here to English, so you'll also understand what's written here. And we have some basic information about the school, and so that's what we will use for this video as an example. And to get started, let's clean up all these template things here, and let's build a real simple AI assistant first that just gets a response from ChatGPT with information sent in a prompt. So we don't even need to add a knowledge base for this. This is really the simplest possible way to build an AI assistant, and you'll also see how that works with multiple languages. So let's get started here, and we can first welcome the user. Let's just do this short. If I would do this for a real client, I would introduce them in a more friendly way and mention the school's name and everything as well. But that's not the topic of this video, so let's keep everything a bit short. And so we'll enter a capture block where we store the response from the user in the last utterance. And then we simply add AI response, AI block here. And what we do here is, as a prompt, we enter the last utterance. And here in the settings, we can give some information. And what would be nice is if we could just enter the link of this website. But the truth is, links don't really work well. So let's just copy this information text here as a basis and say you are a friendly AI assistant answering questions about our language schools, about our language school. Consider this information. And we can, of course, add more. Actually, yeah, we can add a lot more. The only thing is that this will increase the prompt length, so that will raise the cost. But now we are just using model 3.5 turbo, so that is not really expensive, and we can add more information here without worrying too much. Yes, so let's do this as a system prompt. As a system input, the prompt is just the last utterance, and we can call this the AI response. And then we just connect them, and after the answer is given, we want to just move back to, again, capture input so there can be kind of a conversation. And so that really is a very simple setup, how to build an AI assistant for a potential client. And now let's see what it can do in terms of language. So let's say we now first just ask something in English. Where is your school? What you'll find is that, of course, the AI assistant is answering in English, but now let's just try asking in a different language and see what happens now. Was für Kurse bietet ihr an? I'm asking what courses do you offer in German? And you will see the answer actually comes in German, just as you would expect from ChatGPT or other AI assistants if you ever use them in other languages. Wir bieten verschiedene Deutschkurse in Basel an. Yeah, so this is exactly the information you would want. Here it's cut off in the end. That is because I set the token limit a bit too tight, I guess. But that's not the topic. The point is that we get the answer in the language that we want. Great. So that works. But now let's say we want something a bit more complicated. Let's say this is not really the information that we want to give it, but we actually want to give it a knowledge base. So let's go back here to the knowledge area of VoiceFlow and add some data sources. And we can again go to this website here. I'll show you the place where we are in the website. And to make this simple, let's just add a few links here in English about information that we want to share. And ideally, you would more carefully pick what information exactly you want to put in here. Maybe they have something about terms and conditions. Yeah, here they have legal terms, which often has information that the AI assistant can use for writing answers. Even though it's in German, this will still be useful. Yeah, let's go with this for now. The refresh rate, we'll just import it now. Let's set it to daily. And we give it a second. And after this is updated, let's do a short test here. Let's use this preview functionality and ask what courses do you offer? And of course, the English answer comes in the right language. Now let's do the same in German. Was für Kurse bietet ihr an? And you see this AI assistant as well with the knowledge base just answers in the right language by default. And it does so even if the source text is in English, which is really useful. So let's go back to our agent. We now have this knowledge base. We go to the workflow and let's set this one aside. And instead we use another response AI. Let's call this knowledge base. And here we do a knowledge base prompt. And again, the question, we want to use the last utterance. And for the instruction, this time we can do it a bit simpler. We can just use this part that the AI assistant should answer questions, and the knowledge base is automatically provided since we chose this option here. And so let's say this is what we want, and if there is no answer found, let's ignore this question for now. Let's just put in a text block and say not found. So we notice this actually happened, and we'll talk about this in a second. And this as well will route back here. And this one now connects here, and this one we just don't need. Let's disconnect it for now. So now we have the AI assistant with the knowledge base. And so let's run this. And here now we can ask in the same way as we just did, what courses do you offer? As you see, it works in English. Then let's ask, where is the school? But let's ask in German now. Wo ist die Schule? and you see the answer is great. It's exactly what we want and it's in German. But now let's say we ask something that the AI assistant cannot answer because it's not in a knowledge base. And to make it really obvious that it has nothing to do with what we are asking, let's just do something about the weather. Like, how is the weather in Basel? And so you see, if we ask a question like this, we end up with not found. And sometimes it might be a language school related question, or whatever client you have, a related question to them, but still you end up in a not found path because for whatever reason the AI assistant can't find that. And for that we need to have some kind of solution. What do you do here? And with clients that I had, we came to the initial solution that we just, in this case, asked the students or the interested clients to contact the school, because it's something the AI can't answer. If they would have a question before we introduce an AI assistant, they would have contacted the school. So here we want to suggest them to contact the school. So we can say something like, good question. And we'll add a separate text block and say to give you the best answer, please contact us directly. You can reach us at a phone, whatever, or this contact form, which I'm not going to provide here, but that's how it could look, for example. And then after this, we write back and we welcome more questions. Now, what you'll notice quickly here as you use or start using this AI assistant is you run into a real language problem here. So because the first welcome is in English, that's fine because we don't know anything about the user yet. But now we know, like let's say we ask in German, wo ist die Schule? So where is the school? That part the AI assistant will know, so it gives a nice German answer. But then now we ask another question, how is the weather? But in German, how is the weather in Basel? And now what happens is that we get this answer, but it's again in English, which is really not what we want. And so before I'll show you a complicated way that you should not go forward with, I'll show you what is, in my view, the best solution to solve this problem right now. And then we'll talk about different features that you can add and more complications that you get with them and how to solve them. But really the easiest way how you can solve this problem here is that you actually don't have this not found block here as a fixed input, but instead my VoiceFlow froze here, but it's already back. But instead, we move this to the side and we get this AI response block back here that actually answers without a knowledge base, because like ChatGPT, this always answers no matter what. And now we can just kind of adjust this prompt or the system setting actually. And we can tell it, if you can't answer a question, just share the contact information, which we'll copy from here. test.contactform.com. This one we can also give it as a link. Well, I guess we can't, but usually it recognizes and works with links. So let's do it this way. If you can't answer a question, just share the contact information or this contact form with the user so they can contact the school personally. Okay. And so now if the knowledge base can't answer a question, we connect with this AI response, and from here again connect back to the capture user reply. And this one turns out is not connected anywhere anymore, so let's remove that connection and let's start again from here. Now let's say, wo ist die Schule? Where is the school in German? We get a proper answer, and now let's ask something that they can't answer. Wie ist das Wetter in Basel? How is the weather in Basel? And now you see we jump to the AI response, and now the AI assistant tells us that they can't directly access the weather and it's best to use a weather app. And it gives the answer in German, and in this case it was not even related to the school at all, so it didn't even mention the contact information, but it would if it was a relevant information. And so this is the simplest and a quite solid version, I would say, how you can build an AI assistant for multiple languages. And you can make sure that you don't randomly force English answers by just having everything that comes out be AI generated and as a response to the user input. That is really the simplest approach. But now let's add more features and make this a bit more complex, because what we had as a situation with one of my clients is that we wanted to add some buttons where a user could actually click and go to a certain website right away. So let's say we want them to get to the contact form. And so we have this link here, and we can of course just enter a button. We can enter them. We can't enter them with the capture because this will always end the block, but we can separate this welcome message and enter the buttons here in this way. Now this is listening or capture user reply, and this is welcome. And so here we can now add the button contact. Or, because we still want to have the user be able to type freely, we also want to have a no match option and add this path. And so if the user types something and there is no match, then we go to the AI assistant. And actually that means we don't even need this capture user reply anymore, because the no match does that for us already. So now we have this, and the contact we can directly set open URL, and we enter this contact URL here. And so what that does is, if we start the AI assistant and the user clicks on contact, now you see we directly open this contact page where we want to bring the user. And we can't really do that in another way other than sharing a button like this. And after the button is clicked, we can still connect forward and basically accept another input. Or the way to do this properly is actually go back to the form, because we might have other buttons and we want to offer that again. So for example, let's say we also want to add another button for, we don't have it now, but let's say for the sake of an example, we want to add another button for placement test, which language schools offer quite often. So to do that, we enter another option here, actually here, placement test. And again, we open a URL, which will say is now this one. And it also directly links back to the listening experience. And now, if we start this AI assistant, we get something that works quite well. We get welcome, how can we help you? You click on contacts. So you're here, someone comes back. Yeah, and this with the linking back directly doesn't work actually. So let's enter a different text block here so we can make this work. And we do that by entering another text. Anything else we can help you with? And so after they click on that link, we now move forward to this further help text. This one we do the same. And after we offer that, we go back to listen to whatever they want from us again, which also allows them to ask open questions, of course. And so here now, let's run this again. And now if we click contact, we open the form and you see anything else you can help with, placement test appears here. And so this works very nicely. And we can also freely interact with the AI. When do the next courses start? So as you see, this works, except that I forgot to connect this path here, which should connect back to the options, this one as well. So this works, but what now if we ask a question in German, like we did before? Welche Kurse bietet ihr an? What courses do you offer? Now we run into the issue that here we are in German and we are switching back to English. Like, of course, this link is already English, but even the AI assistant will answer us in English again. So how do you solve that issue? The easiest way is to remove the buttons, and then we are back at the solution that we did before. But let's say that you really want to have these buttons. You want to have the user to be able to just click on some options easily and find what he wants, and potentially even click through some menus with these buttons. Because you can, of course, have one button and then open up more buttons like you would in a menu. And the way that I would do that and have still kind of a clean language experience is by first detaching this whole AI flow from the rest. This one we don't need anymore, by the way. The whole AI flow is then a closed thing in itself. We just capture the input as a starting point. And that's where our AI sends us after answering a question. So after the AI answers a question in German, it will not give you back some kind of English information again. So either knowledge base or no knowledge base, it goes directly back to the capture return. Only the entry point to the AI is from the guided flow. But now we also want to have this experience in several languages. Let's just for simplicity say we want to have it in English and in German. So what we do here is we can just create the flow in different languages. And so we can, for example, create the same flow in German. And so we just copy paste it. To have this clean, let's put them on top of each other. So the left side is English and the right side is German. And to keep this cleaned up, we also want to rename the titles here, so it's always clear what we are doing. English welcome, English further help, German welcome, German further help. And so now we can simply translate all these texts. And I'm keeping this short now. And then we will also change these links here, and we can make them to German links. I'm not 100% sure if this way of changing them works, but we would of course then take more time and copy paste exactly the right links. But now how do we get to this German welcome and the English welcome? The solution that we chose for my client, that we have this solution, is that we start with English because that's just the most universally understood language. And then we offer, oh, I don't need another one, but here with the buttons, we just offer another button where we offer to switch language. And here is another thing that we run into. First, when I made this button, we just called it German flag German. And you might think that makes sense, but a lot of users, when they see this, they will think that this is the way how they can book a German language course. And they will click this and then end up with German AI. Even though they speak English, they just want to book German language. So what we want to do here is actually, instead of writing German, we want to say switch language to German, something like that. And there is more things you can do here. If you have several languages, then you could add here switch languages as an option, and then in a separate block we would offer all the language options, but let's keep this simple. And then because someone might first click to the wrong language or want to switch back, let's offer another option here where we say switch language to English. Let's put the emoji as well. And so now here we have this option to go back to English. And from no match, we also go to the capture reply, because as you remember, this answers in the prompted language, and we don't have any flow back to the buttons after this. So it's fine to link to the same here. So let's test that out. So now what we have is these buttons that we can click. We end up with the English website. We can switch to German. We get the German welcome message. We have the German links. We click here, and if it would work, we would get the German website. We end up with a Chinese here because I entered the wrong link. But this works, and if we ask something now into the AI, we can even do a totally different language. We could do French, but let's keep German to imitate what a user might do here. Wann beginnt der nächste Kurs? When does the next course begin? And now you see it jumps to the capture reply, which is actually wrong. So here I made a mistake. In this case, we don't want to go to the capture reply, but we want to go down here to the knowledge base because the reply is already captured. So let's just start again from here. Wann beginnt der nächste Kurs? When does the next course begin? And here we jump to the knowledge base. And it answers correctly that the courses usually start at the first Monday of the month. And so what you can now do, if you invest more time and grow this even bigger, you can separate out different workflows for each of the languages here. You can have a German workflow, an English workflow, and you can have a separate workflow as well for this knowledge based answer, because that one will automatically answer in the right language and it doesn't connect back to the buttons. Yeah, and so there are many more details I could talk about, but this video already gets quite long. So let me just mention one more trap that I tried out and it turned out to not work at all. So first, when we tried to build an AI assistant that can interact to the user in different languages, we tried to use intents. So let's say instead of having this button here, switch to German language, we didn't have this button. I'm not totally sure how I can delete this button actually. But let's say we didn't have this button here, but instead we went to insert an intent. And to add an intent, you right click and you click add trigger. And here now we can add another intent. And what we tried to do here is German. We just try to find the intention that someone wants to speak German. Auf Deutsch bitte, or oh, this is description. Interact in German. And then we can say, please talk to me in German, or or also the same in German. Auf Deutsch bitte. Interact in German, and I can generate several more here. That's how the intents usually work. And then once the intent would be captured, we would go here and that would be in the German flow. And so I didn't create that, I guess. Let me do that again. Okay, and so we create this intent. And now when this intent gets found, anywhere in the conversation, we will jump to the German flow. And in theory, we could not use the button, but be smart about this and figure out how the user wants to converse. And then we would have this knowledge flow, not in one place, but separately here. So the no match goes here. And that allows us actually then, after answering questions with AI, that we go to further help. How can we help further? And then we show the buttons again, and the AI answer also is possible again. And this is correct. And this goes here. But the problem with that is that these intents really misfire very often. So in some kind of conversation, let's say the user first asks, when do the classes start? So here we get this kind of answer, and now let's ask, when I want to learn German, what German class do you recommend? Well, that is a different issue. I didn't connect this path here. This should go down here. So let's try the same again. I want to learn German. What German class do you recommend? And so in this case, it worked just fine. But what would happen quite often, I guess also the problem is that we didn't train it yet, but after training and when deploying it in the real world, what would happen with this question is that it would think that we want to talk in German, and then it will jump over here quite randomly, even though the user didn't really intend to switch language. They just asked about the German language course. So that's why I ended up totally dropping this idea with the intents. They don't work well and they misfire. And if you build multi-language AI assistant, I would highly recommend you to not use these kind of intents either. So let me just delete this here. And so to sum up, what I would recommend you to build a simple multi-language AI assistant, first start with a very simple flow only with a knowledge base, and then an AI response without knowledge base as a fallback. And if you need to have predefined paths with buttons or predefined texts, then just have them separate and come up first in the conversation. And then once the user goes out of these buttons and writes text freely, they are in a separate workflow, or at least separate part of your workflow, where they never go back to the predefined texts. So they will have a smooth language experience and don't jump back and forth between different languages. All right, and that was how I built multi-language AI assistants with VoiceFlow. That's just how I do it and what I found works best after a lot of trying and building. If you have other experiences or ideas what could be improved, I'd really love to hear or read about them in the comments down below. And if you like to see more contents like this, please subscribe so YouTube can recommend you more videos like this, and it would also really help me out. So thank you very much and have a great day.